Bandits abduct 25 schoolgirls, kill vice principal in deadly attack on Kebbi school. Turaki PDP leaders visit police headquarters as tension mounts over Wadata Plaza. Mixed reactions trail conflicting judgments over PDP convention. And on the foreign scene, Cameroon opposition candidate declares self president-elect. Hello there, very good evening. Thanks for joining us on News Hour tonight. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. Bandits have abducted 25 students from the Government Girls Comprehensive Senior Secondary School, Maga, in Danko, Wasagu local government area of Kebbi State. The gunmen reportedly invaded the school on Sunday night, killing the vice principal, Hassan Makuku, who was said to have been shot while trying to protect the students. Witnesses say the attackers operated freely, causing panic and throwing the community into mourning. Residents have been offering prayers for the slain vice principal, asking God to grant him mercy and comfort his family. Confirming the incident, the Kebbi State Police Public Relations Officer, CSP Nafiu Abubakar, said 25 students were taken. He added that a combined team of police, tactical units, soldiers and vigilantes had been deployed and were combing the bandits' routes and nearby forests in a bid to rescue the girls and arrest the perpetrators. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ahmed Idris, said Deputy Governor Senator Omar Tafida had been sent to the school to assess the situation on behalf of Governor Nasri Idris, who is currently out of the state. Now, General Uba, the brigade commander of Damboa, has been confirmed killed by ISWAP terrorists after hours of being reported missing in the forest. According to military sources who released the information, the commander had earlier made a video saying he was fine. However, after several hours, he reportedly became disoriented while moving through the forest. Troops on the ground and air teams made multiple attempts to rescue him. The commander had told them he was already on his way back to base, raising hopes of a quick recovery. He was later recaptured by the terrorists following viral reports of his abduction. His death was confirmed afterwards. Recall that the army had earlier claimed that he had returned to base. His death has now raised critical questions about the sincerity of the military regarding the welfare of their men in the front. Now joining us via phone to provide an update is Media Trust Northeast Bureau Chief Hamisu Matazu. Good evening there, and thank you for joining us. Now, Hamisu, has the military issued any official clarification on why it initially claimed the commander had returned to base?
As of now, there's no official statement issued by the military, and but what I can only say is that I was at an event where there was some military officials, top military officials. But based on the discussion there, they still cast a little doubt over the killing of the general. Some of them were even saying that there was no network there, how they are thinking about the veracity of the video that went that were posted by the ISWAP members. So, notwithstanding, we all have witnessed what the ISWAP members are released on the internet, we saw how he was subjected to an interrogation and later shot, which many media organizations are trying to verify, which many have done so, and they made their claim out. But the military, what I can say is that the military still have a doubt over what is going on the internet, and they have not issued any statement yet. They still have maybe stick to what they earlier issued on that the general is still leading the troops maybe back to the base, which we are yet to see.
Now, so what do we know about the circumstances that led to the commander becoming disoriented and later falling back into the hands of ISWAP?
Well, the circumstances I can say that led to him becoming disoriented and falling back into the hands of the ISWAP cannot be easily said or maybe defined. Because why? Because the area where the incident happened at Rajirko happens to be a very remote area where there's no GSM network, and based on information coming out from there, even the military are using other means, maybe a Starlinks to get a strong network to operate within that area. But the issue, most people are saying that why he was being recaptured was the issue of a signal that the insurgents were able to intercept, because he was able to make it to a safer place, location where he called for reinforcement, the air component of the theater and ground troops for them to come and rescue him, which the insurgents were able to intercept and locate him. They traced him where he has hidden and eventually took him away, interrogated him, and killed him. So this is what the information that we got on in that aspect.
Thank you very much, Hamisu Matazu. Let's now hear more on the attack from a community leader, Maga Bamei Aniku Dabai. Hello, good evening there, and thank you for joining us. Hello, Maga, can you hear me?
I'm fine. Good evening. How are you? Maga is the community that was attacked, not my name. My name is Bamei Aniku.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, so you're there. And now let's hear from you.
Yes.
Have security forces established contact or picked up any intelligence on the movement of the bandits and the condition of the abducted students?
No, they have not been able to establish any contact with the bandits. Okay. Since the bandits took the students around 4 a.m. this morning, they have never contacted any parent or any school authority or the security agency.
Okay, now what immediate
support? So we don't know the...
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Now, what immediate support or relief measures is the state government providing to the families of the victims and the affected school community?
As I'm speaking to you right now, the Kebbi State Governor has already mobilized together with the Chief of Army Staff and the Commissioner of Police. They are presently in Maga. That is where the incident happened earlier today. So they are there. He has addressed the parents, he has addressed the community, and he has given assurances that the state government is doing anything they could to ensure that those abducted students were brought back home. So the Chief of Army Staff is there to give support, also the Commissioner of Police. So they are there, and they have given the parents assurance. You know, at this point of time, there is no any relief you can give the parents apart from telling them or bringing back their abducted children, because we are talking about female children that are very vulnerable. And you know what it means that when your daughter is taken away by bandits, it's not something that the parents are finding it easy, but the governor and the security agents are there, and they have explained to the parents that they are going to take measures to bring back their children back home.
If at all, is the government taking to prevent further attacks in the area?
You know, to be honest, the government has not been proactive, even though these governors has limitations on what they can do regarding the chain of command of the military. The governor has been providing logistics and support to the security agencies. But on the hand of the security agency, I think there is need for them to be more proactive, because before the occurrence of this incident, yesterday, the military were deployed during the day, and they were seen in the school. But somehow, along the line, at the night, they left they left the school, and when they were contacted after the student had been adopted, that is around 5 a.m. in the morning, by some community leaders, they say they went out for patrol. So within that period, I think it's about an hour, when they left the school, that was when the bandits invaded the school and they took away those children. So the military need to be more proactive. And the bandits came on foot. They were not on motorcycles. They were not riding cars. They were on foot. This is to tell you that they may have a link-up base not much far from there, but it may not be necessarily in Kebbi State, because in Kebbi State, what we are experiencing is an overflow of the security challenges in Zamfara. Actually, bandits have no designated areas, even though they have displaced a lot of communities, but they came in through River Ka. There is a river there, they call it River Ka. They always come through the river, and when they come, they will do their operations and they will go. This is not the first time they are coming to that community. They have been coming and rustling cows and then kidnapping 1 or 2 persons. They have been doing that regularly. So, but why this one is now coming to limelight and it becomes a national story or news is because we are talking about students, and we are talking about female students.
Well, thank you very much. The community leader of Maga there, giving us an update on the incident in that community. I'm
a public commentator, not community leader of Maga. Right. Maga has its own community. I'm from the community. Thank you very much.
In that area, giving us his, an assessment of the situation there. We'll keep you updated as soon as we get latest development on that story. Moving on, at least 1,400 vigilantes, hunters, and members of neighborhood watch groups have undergone training to help tackle the persistent security challenges affecting several communities across Plateau State. The trainees were selected from communities most affected by recurring attacks. Ado Musa completes this report.
Plateau State has long faced recurring violence leading to the loss of hundreds of lives and displacement of thousands of residents. The ongoing training for vigilantes, hunters, and neighborhood watch members comes amid renewed attacks in different parts of the state. As part of effort to strengthen the grassroots security, Operation Rainbow, a state-backed security outfit, is training 1,400 personnel drawn from the 17 local government areas. Acting coordinator of Operation Rainbow, Brigadier General Gagdi Shipi, says the initiative is aimed at enhancing the state security architecture and integrating community responders into the broader security network.
Operation Rainbow, as you know, is the neighborhood watch agency of the government of Plateau State. And you also recall that one of the pillars of the government of Barrister Caleb Mutfwang is the provision of security to the citizens of Plateau State. And Operation Rainbow is one of those agencies or tools that is being used by the government to ensure that. And so part of the efforts to rejig the security architecture of the state was to get, those that are involved in the security of our communities, that the hunters, the vigilantes involved in the in providing a coordinated security approach. So that's what led to the recruitment of these trainees you are seeing here. We brought them from the various communities within the state to give them more effective training, to get them more coordinated.
Participants also shared their thoughts on the relevance of the training in improving community safety.
Challenges that we have been facing, so I've come here to be trained so that I'm going to take the message to our youth at home so that we are going to use what we have in safeguarding the life of our people, sir. My message to the state government is let them empower more youth so that they will get efficient.
As happened in our village, we came here to train, to know how to save ourselves and the life of people. So it's really what to appreciate the government and the government.
The training is expected to equip participants with the essential skills needed to combat criminality and improve safety across communities and villages in Plateau State. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
And away from security matters, the newly elected national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, SAN, and several other party leaders on Monday stormed the Nigeria Police Force headquarters in Garki, Abuja, to lodge a formal complaint against expelled Senator Samuel Anyanmu and FCT Minister Wike, among others. The development comes after the Mohammed Abdurrahman-led faction of the PDP, backed by Wike, summoned an emergency National Executive Committee meeting and Board of Trustee meeting for Tuesday. According to the notice issued by the expelled National Secretary Samuel Anyanmu in Abuja on Monday, the meeting will be held at the NEC Hall of the party's National Secretariat, Wadata Plaza, Abuja, while the meeting of the BOT faction loyal to Wike is scheduled to hold for 11 a.m. That of the NEC holds at 2 p.m.
Abiding people, we've come here to tell the police that we are having our meeting tomorrow. And this will be the inaugural meeting since we left Ibadan after our election at our National Elective Convention. Now, we have seen flying in the social media a purported notice of BOT and NEC meeting given by people who, for all intent and purposes, are no longer members of this party as I'm talking to you today. Next to God, in management of political parties is the National Convention. The decision taken in a National Convention overrides every other decision that has been taken by any organ of a party. Our National Convention has taken a decision to expel these elements from the party.
And in another development, the former governor of Niger State, Ma'azu Babangida Aliyu, has said that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has removed the cancer that has been crippling the party. Aliyu was reacting to the expulsion of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, and his allies from the PDP. Trust TV recalls that during its national convention held in Ibadan, Oyo State, on Saturday, the PDP expelled Wike and suspended National Secretary Samuel Anyanmu and former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayoshe. Reacting, Aliyu said, like surgeons, we removed a cancer, the cancer that has been part of our party, that has crippled the party. He also warned against turning the country into a one-party state, saying the consequences will be devastating.
There was a time when PDP had up to 28 governors in this country, and nobody cried foul. But one can cry foul when you see your governors been taken away, either by bribe or by intimidation, and the constitution of country says you cannot go to another party with the mandate of another party, and yet we are not following that rule. So we went and looked at what has been happening to our party, and like surgeons, we removed the cancer. The cancer that had been part of our party, that has crippled the party. We hope with that removal of the cancer, the party may be able to move and give Nigerians an option on what to do.
In the meantime, the new national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Kabiru Turaki, says the party is open to forming a broad opposition coalition ahead of the 2027 election. In an exclusive interview with Trust TV, he said the priority now is building a credible front that can challenge the ruling party. The report.
Turaki said the PDP will consider every option that may help restore democratic values in Nigeria. This includes possible alliances with other parties, civil society groups, and international partners. He emerged chairman with over 1,500 delegates votes at the Ibadan Convention, a process overshadowed by a flurry of court orders and the withdrawal of major contenders.
Now, politics is not is not absence of crisis, not absence of conflict. You bring people together who are from different perspectives, who have interests that are diametrically opposed to each other. So the whole essence of it is to make sure that those interests are harmonized and carried along in such a way and manner as to give everybody a sense of belonging. That is the essence of politics. Now, there is no time that you could say is more turbulent in the life of a political party than other. For us in PDP, we've seen more tense moments than what we've seen now. We have been through whatever good thing that could happen to a political party, just like we've been through whatever bad thing or challenging thing that could have happened to a political party. So for us in PDP, it's not something new. It's something that can be done. I believe I can do it. I believe my skills can be useful to sorting out the problems and challenges that PDP has at this moment.
The convention produced more hits when the party expelled key figures including FCT Minister Wike and former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayoshi for alleged anti-party activities. Some members say the expulsion lacked proper constitutional backing.
Now, sometimes in life of a man, you need to take decisions that can be painful. But it's better to take decisions no matter how painful they are than not taking a decision. The greatest problem will have been not to take a decision. But if you take decisions that are wrong, history will forgive you for taking those wrong decisions. And I think PDP had gotten to the level where we have to take what decisions we need to take to pull the party out of the woods. And I think that was what had been done.
The new leadership will be inaugurated on December 9th as the PDP begins early positioning for 2027.
And still talking politics, the Speaker of the Taraba State House of Assembly, Kizito Bonzena, has resigned from the People's Democratic Party and announced his movement to the All Progressives Congress, blaming what he described as deepening factional struggles within the PDP at the national level. Bonzena confirmed that 15 other members of the Assembly have also submitted letters indicating their intention to leave the PDP for the APC. Speaking on the mass defection, Bonzena urged residents not to misunderstand their decision, insisting it was taken in the best interest of the state. He noted that with the latest development, all 24 members of the Assembly are now in the APC. He appealed to the people of Taraba State to continue supporting the state government, describing the move as the most beneficial course for the state. A former speaker and current member representing Mbanga constituency, Peter Dare, welcomed the speaker and the defected members to the APC. He recalled that the speaker and others were fair to him and fellow APC lawmakers when they were in the minority, adding that he is pleased to see them embrace what he called the vision of President Bola Tinubu. And away from that, President Bola Tinubu has called on Nigeria's judiciary to preserve its dignity and eliminate misconduct. Tinubu, who stated this at the 2025 Conference of All Nigerian Judges of Superior Courts of Records on Monday, said justice must never be for sale. According to him, corruption in any form or arm of government weakens the nation, while corruption in the judiciary destroys it to the core. The president says governance loses its integrity and democracy loses its foundation when justice is compromised.
We must acknowledge with candor that public perception of the judicial process has not always been favorable. Citizens have expressed frustration at delays, concerns about integrity, and anxiety over access to justice. These perceptions, whether wholly justified or not, cannot be ignored. They call upon us to reflect, to reform, and to restore. For ultimately, justice does not exist for the bench or the bar. It exists for the people. Their faith in judicial process is the foundation of our national stability. In this regard, I wish to reaffirm with the clarity and conviction the unwavering commitment of my administration to support the judiciary in fulfilling its constitutional mandate.
Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Conflicting judges' decisions on similar facts often create confusion and make the judicial system appear uncoordinated and arbitrary. However, the body responsible for regulating judicial conduct holds a different view that may explain why many of these decisions are allowed to stand. Trust TV's Bello Musa has more on that.
The pattern of conflicting judgments and orders, particularly from courts of coordinate jurisdiction in Nigeria, has increased in recent years, fueling skepticism and cynicism among many Nigerians. Experts argue that this trend erodes public confidence, undermines the rule of law, and may point to deeper systemic issues within the justice sector. According to political analyst Musa Idris, the increasing rate of conflicting court pronouncements is alarming.
Is it that the courts are not in tandem, or they are not in cohort, or they are not in synergy? When you give a judgment in Abuja, for instance, and it has some elements of, other arms of government, probably like that judgment is joined with INEC or another arm of government. Are you saying they don't have jurisdiction to entertain that case? If you look at what happened in the Badan, because I would expect that at least an appeal that had been issued judgment, the state party in Ibadan that issued that judgment that they should go ahead with that convention. Are you telling me they are not in cohorts? They don't know what happened that you give such a judgment?
But for Major Hayashin Kurutai, such conflicting judgments and orders may actually indicate that democracy is functioning as it should.
As far as I'm concerned, utmost to know is that this is one of the beauties of democracy, where everyone has the right, where he has an issue, to approach the court for a redress. But meanwhile, as far as I'm concerned, the judgment obtained or an order of the court by former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, is something that he ought to have done if he thought his right had been infringed, with a view to contesting as chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria. But having obtained that order, suddenly I understand there was a resettlement committee that had been put in place by the party.
Recent conflicting orders issued by courts in Abuja and Ibadan ahead of the PDP National Convention have once again raised concerns about the integrity of Nigeria's judicial system. However, Kaduna-based legal practitioner Aminu Abdurrashid insists that conflicting judgments and orders, especially those arising from court of coordinate jurisdiction, do not necessarily amount to judicial failure.
So someone will go to Kaduna State High Court and file a case, another person will go to Abuja and file a case. Then these courts will issue interim orders, that is orders to preserve the matter that is before the court pending the hearing of an application that the other party will be put on notice. And these courts might give different interpretation based on the facts and circumstances that are before that court. It depends on what is presented before the court.
The commentators stressed the need for greater public enlightenment on the nature and implications of certain court judgments and orders in order to protect the image of the judiciary. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Many thanks, Bello. Now, a growing number of Nigerians now believe the courts have become a marketplace where politicians shop for favorable rulings, while ordinary citizens wait years for justice. Now, recent judgments tied to the PDP convention have raised fresh questions about speed, influence, and the integrity of the bench. Abdullahi Ahmed, in this next report, examines why these rapid-fire rulings are fueling doubts about judicial independence and what this means for the public confidence in the system.
Across Nigeria, more people now believe our courts have turned into a marketplace where politicians shop for rulings the way shoppers pick items off a shelf. Many citizens now question whether judges decide cases based on the law or based on who pays. That concern has been around for years, but the recent PDP convention saga exposed it in full view. In less than 2 weeks, the convention became a judicial free-for-all. 5 court orders dropped one after another, sometimes within hours. 2 rulings came on the same day. On the eve of the convention, one order surfaced in the morning and another in the evening, both pointing in opposite directions. One judge blocked the convention and told INEC to stay away. Another, sitting in Oyo, ordered the PDP to go ahead and instructed INEC to monitor the exercise. A third insisted everyone maintains status quo, warning against actions that could render his order pointless. The speed and contradictions didn't look like careful adjudication. They looked like political firefighting. This kind of judicial abnormality invites deeper questions. When judgments flip this rapidly and land at moments that benefit certain interests, it fuels talk that some judges are more responsive to political operators than to the law. Past senior jurists have flagged this pattern. Justice Umaru Abdullahi once warned openly that politicians lobby and try to compromise judges. Other retired justices have said this perception that some judges are already booked by powerful litigants is killing public trust. The PDP convention litigation fits that pattern. Rulings arriving like emergency deliveries for whichever camp can secure them first. And while political cases get lightning-fast attention, Ordinary Nigerians live a different reality. More than 53,000 people are currently awaiting trial, according to the Correctional Service. That's over 65% of the entire prison population, people who haven't been convicted of any crimes yet. Many stay in detention for months or even years without a single court sitting. They wait, sometimes without legal representation, sometimes without even knowing when their cases will be heard. Yet, the same court that can spare time for them somehow manages to produce multiple rulings in a day for political disputes. This gap, slow justice for citizens, express service for politicians, is what makes people feel that the judiciary in Nigeria has become transactional. When the powerful get pay-as-you-go judgments and the powerless wait endlessly, the courts stop looking like places of fairness and start looking a lot like extensions of political strategy. The PDP legal scramble isn't just a party crisis. It's a mirror showing what many fear the judiciary in Nigeria is becoming. Fast for the influential, slow for everyone else, and too easily pulled into the theater of politics.
Now, moving on to other stories now. Nigeria's headline inflation rate eased to 16.05% relative to the September 2025 headline inflation rate of 18.02%, the National Bureau of Statistics has stated. In its October 2025 inflation report, the NBS said the inflation rate showed a decrease of 1.96% compared to the September 2025 headline inflation rate, adding that on a year-on-year basis, the headline inflation rate was 17.82% lower than the rate recorded in October 2024, which was 33.88%. It added that on a month-on-month basis, the headline inflation rate in October 2025 was 0.93%, which was 0.21% higher than the rate recorded in September 2025. For food inflation, the rate was 13.12% on a year-on-year basis. It noted that the average annual rate of food inflation for the 12 months ending October 2025 over the previous 12 months average was 21.96%, which was 16.16% points lower compared with the average annual rate of change recorded in October 2024. An economist, Paul Alaje, is joining us via Zoom to discuss this new inflation figures. Are you there? Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Yeah, now, what key factors contributed to the significant drop in Nigeria's headline inflation from October 2024 to October 2025?
Thank you once again. We've seen that inflation numbers has eased according to the National Bureau of Statistics. We saw inflation number came around 16.05%. A number of factors are responsible. Number one is we are still in harvest season, which of course has helped increase supply side for food. And from your report, you see that the food inflation year on year was a major improvement from where it was. Secondly, and most importantly, is the base year effect. Compared to the base year that we used for last year, this year's base year was a lot more easier. And I've said after the base year for inflation was adjusted, that we'll see a continuous reduction in inflation. The challenge is that people may not match this with their personal economy or their living standards, because the base year effect does not necessarily mean that price in the market are at par with what the numbers are saying. However, the base year effect has its own advantages as it helps to boost confidence in Nigerian market because the number will ease. Another one is relative stability. We are seeing in the FX market and a lower pass-through effect. Now, when Nigeria has relative stability in the foreign exchange, it brings that kind of confidence and pricing does no longer fluctuate. Why? Because over 50% of all finished goods are imported into Nigeria. And I'm just being charitable. The number is far more than that. So when you combine this factor, which includes one, pass-through effect, which is more lower now, two, exchange rate, relative stability in exchange rate, three, as harvest season, and most importantly, the adjustment of base year. All of these factors is what come together that make us have a much reduced inflation rate.
Okay. Despite the year-on-year decline, what are the implications of the month-on-month rise?
Oh, good. So what you see is that month on month, we are no longer comparing year on year. When I mentioned the base year, it's year that was adjusted. So you are now having comparison on month versus month. That is why you see relative increase. That shows you the true picture. And I've said time and again that for us to see what can reflect on people's life, it might not be good right now to use year-on-year comparison until we get to next year, April, before we can compare year-on-year and going forward. What we see now are outliers number. That does not mean the numbers are lies. That's not what I'm saying. They are outliers number. They are more like shock in our economic conversation or discussion. So, and it's okay, Nigeria is not the first country to do that. But most importantly, the true reflection of inflation is more visible in year on year. So it shows that commodities or prices grew relatively higher at an increasing rate on monthly basis compared to what we saw in September. In October, it was relatively higher.
Now, okay, how sustainable is the current downward trend in food and headline inflation? And what policies are needed to maintain or accelerate it?
It's partly sustainable, but it's very fragile. And I think we should watch out for expectation effects. When we get to sometimes around the election period, people expect prices to go up. We expect money supply to increase. Disinflation, especially when it's based on, when it's concerns base year effect, might not totally be sustainable, but could be managed. We also have major structural vulnerability, which remains a major concern for the Nigeria economy. That is why over time, I think in the last 10 years, we have not seen single-digit inflation. So it's majorly because of structural challenges, which affects logistics and the supply side. But I strongly believe that with the gain in our base year adjustment and seasonality that we have seen with inflation numbers, if we will be deliberate, especially at the subnational level, because when you look at the inflation numbers and you compare that to what is happening at subnational level, you see states like Ekiti topping the inflation trend for Nigeria. That means that there are some things we need to do within that state. And other states that are also badly affected. A few states are seeing a single-digit inflation, which they've not seen, I tell you, in a whole decade. So sustainability has to do with supply side. We have to be very focused. Base year adjustment will not give us what we want sustainably, but until we push out for supply in output, in production, and stop printing money, which of course I think largely has reduced. I think those will help us to get to the kind of destination that we want to be.
Paul Alaje there, thank you very much for your contributions on News Hour tonight.
It's a pleasure to be with you this evening.
Moving on, the senior legal practitioners in Nigeria are expressing mixed views on why conflicting orders from courts of coordinate jurisdiction keep happening in the country. Some point to weak systems, others blame corruption, poor sanctions, and political pressure. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman has that report.
Conflicting orders from courts of equal standing seen recently in the Kano Royal Dispute and the PDP National Convention now appear frequent in Nigeria's judicial space. Senior lawyers say the trend grows because some lawyers shop for courts they think will favor their clients. They argue that this, combined with multiple institutional gaps, fits the problem.
Political matters constitute only about 3% of the workload of the judiciary, yet they constitute about 95% of where injury to the reputation of the judiciary comes from. Why is this? It is because the judiciary is seen as a whipping boy of the politicians. Politicians are divided into camps. Because they are divided into camps, they have the wherewithal, the resources to make a loud noise when things don't go in their favor.
The public will want to know if A is for Apple. All courts should be saying the same thing. But where this court says A is for Apple and another court says no, A is for Orange, it becomes a problem. It erodes the public confidence in the judiciary.
Parties in high-stakes cases often try several courts at once to get orders that stop or push actions they want. Legal experts say this weakens the system and damages public trust in the judiciary.
The proper thing is for judges to not to allow themselves to be used by politicians and litigants for their selfish ends. If a particular court has given judgment and the litigants are not satisfied with it, they should appeal. The Court of Appeal is there, and they're almost all over the country, everywhere. It doesn't take time to get to Court of Appeal to file an appeal and pursue it. But to say, I don't agree with you, you go to Court B to go and say the same thing, and then coerce that court to give judgment in your favor is very wrong.
We are not saying that there are not aberrations within the system, but it is exaggerated. We must learn to accept the result of the courts. No Nigerian is ever satisfied with the result. He will always admit that they took money to the judge. We are not saying there are no incidences of corruption.
They note that bodies like the National Judicial Council exists to check excesses, but a slow response to misconduct makes room for what they describe as judicial rascality and forum shopping. The lawyers call for better use of technology to track filings, monitor court activities, and enforce standards. They also stress the need to appoint people with strong character and proven integrity to the bench. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
We now focus on the media. A leading media development organization in Canada, Journalists for Human Rights, has pledged to partner Media Trust Group to train Nigerian journalists on specialized reporting as part of efforts to strengthen journalism practice in the country. Speaking during a courtesy visit to the corporate headquarters of the Media Trust Group on Monday, the Executive Director, Journalists for Human Rights, Bill Killon, said the initiative will support the Media Trust newsroom by training journalists on human rights reporting, coverage of climate change, and investigative journalism. The management of Media Trust Group has shown commitment to working with the Canadian-based organization to support local journalists on various areas of specialized reporting. The Deputy Editorial Director, Habza Idris, who represented the group at the meeting, said the media conglomerate has evolved over the past 26 years.
So we're actually in the fortunate situation that we can think about expanding the work we do, while other organizations are in the unfortunate situation of winding down their operations. We're ramping up. So our African leadership has long identified Nigeria as a country that they would like to work in. So we are here. We've been here for about a week. We're going to be here for another couple of days, but we're here to learn, to hear from leaders within the media industry, to learn about the challenges you face, the opportunities you see, and from there we will go and start our lobbying efforts with the Canadian government to support media development in Nigeria.
If you come in, we stand to gain a lot from what you are doing. So on behalf of our GCO and the management at large, I want to assure you that Media Trust is actually amenable. We are open to partnering with you in achieving some of these things you mentioned, including strengthening the institution by having some of those policies. Of course, we have some of them, like, of course, we have something along women, because we also have women desk. We got funding from Kenya about 2 years ago, which we use in doing a lot of stories to bring out the plight of women and all that. We also have fact check desk, which we also, use in, mitigating the impact of disinformation, malinformation, and fake news, deep fake, and all that.
Moving on to business news now. Dangote Refinery has explained that the recent drop in the pump price of premium motor spirit, PMS, by Nigerian petroleum products marketers nationwide is linked to itself. The company, in a statement on Monday, clarified that the fuel price reduction was not due to the recent suspension of the 15% import duty tariff by the federal government. The 650,000 barrel per day refinery stressed that the recent fuel price drop was due to its gantry price cut to 828 per litre from 877 naira. However, the spokesperson of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has linked the recent cut in petrol price to the easing of tension in the downstream sector due to the federal government's suspension of the 15% import duty. Recall that the federal government suspended its 15% import duty on petrol and diesel, which was intended to support Dangote Refinery. The federal government has opened the application portal for the Students' Venture Capital Grant, SVCG. The program aims to fund student-led ventures with up to 50 million naira in equity-free grants. This was disclosed in a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Federal Ministry of Education, Borio Folashade. The ministry noted that the scheme provides up to 50 million naira in equity-free grants to students, innovators in STEM fields. The project is part of the Renewed Hope agenda and seeks to nurture students' innovations into commercially viable high-impact ventures. The SVCG, also known as the STEM Up Grant, was first announced in July this year and was set to formally commence on August the 2nd. The grant specifically targets full-time undergraduate students in their 300 level and above across accredited Nigerian tertiary institutions. And away from Nigeria, Cameroon's opposition leader, Issa Chiroma Bakari, has declared himself president-elect following the disputed October presidential election, announced the appointment of prominent lawyer and civil society advocate Maitre Alice Nkom as his official spokesperson. In a statement released on Monday evening on his verified social media handle, Chiroma issued a decree under the title President-elect of the Republic, designating Nkom to speak on his behalf. According to the announcement, Nkom is authorized to represent Chiroma's positions in institutional, diplomatic, and media exchanges and to coordinate communication for the president-elect. He added that the appointment was with immediate effect and will be communicated to national and international partners through appropriate channels. Chiroma justified the move by citing what he described as institutional hostage-taking that hinders the free expression of the people's will insisting that his declaration reflects the sovereign choice of Cameroonians in the October 12 poll. In the meantime, Barrister Ali Zinkom welcomes her appointment as spokesperson for Issa Chiroma Bakari, calling him President-elect of Cameroon. It's now time for us to take a look at the sport update with Kabir Lawal.
President Bola Tinubu has commended the Super Eagles for putting up their best efforts towards qualifying for the FIFA World Cup despite their loss in the playoffs on Sunday. The president charged the Eagles to put behind them the loss to the DR Republic of Congo and prepare for African Cup of Nations, which will hold from December 2025 to February 2026 in Morocco. Nigeria's dream of featuring in the World Cup was dashed as Congo DR eliminated the Super Eagles in a dramatic qualifying playoff on Sunday night in Morocco. The Eagles lost in a penalty shootout after the game ended 1-1 extra time. DR Congo triumphed 4-3 on penalties to advance to the Interconfederation playoff, keeping their own 2026 World Cup hopes alive. President Tinubu said that although it was painful that the Eagles failed to qualify for the World Cup tournament for the second consecutive time, the team must be commended for striving hard to reach the Mondial, particularly after winning their first playoff match. Still on sport news, Lobby Stars began their campaign in the 2025 and 2026 Nigerian National League NNL season on a winning note on Saturday, edging City FC of Abuja 1-0 at the Lafia Stadium thanks to superb first half free kick from forward Sur Kumaga. The tense encounter opened the City FC showing early intent as their energetic striker, Philip Eugene, led several forays into the host defense. Lobby Star, however, nearly took the lead in the 7th minute when Bidemi Owoku connected with a neat pass from Kumaga, but his effort was calmly gathered by goalkeeper Emmanuel Adayilo. City FC responded with an 11th minute attack down the left flank, but Valentine Egiga recovered swiftly to break the move, setting up another Lobby Star offense. Kumaga dazzled the visiting defense moments later, yet his eventual strike again found Adayilo well positioned. The turning point arrived in the 43rd minute when sustained pressure from Lobby Stars forced City FC defender Chinedu Oka into handling the ball at the edge of the penalty area. That's sport news. I am Kabir Lawal.
And with that sports update, we come to the end of Trust News Hour on Trust TV for tonight. We'd like to remind you to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. Thank you for joining us.